Hey, my mum has cancer. On today's episode of this podcast, we are going to be speaking to the gorgeous Kelly, who has been through trials and tribulations with cancer. Welcome to the podcast, Kelly.
Thank you.
So we'll jump straight in. We were speaking a minute ago. So who in your family has experienced cancer, lived with cancer?
So quite a lot, as I've just said. So my first experience of cancer was with my mum.
Yeah.
So I think I was about 12 or 13 when I found out my mum had cancer. She had breast cancer, but probably didn't quite realise like the seriousness of it too
Yeah.
much at the time. So my mum had cancer. She did recover from it. But she had quite an aggressive cancer, but managed to kind of have treatment and get through it okay. And then from there, my uncle had cancer. I'm not sure what cancer he had actually, but he sadly passed away. 2 years later, my auntie had breast cancer that went to her brain. She also died sadly. And then my granddad, he had prostate cancer. My other granddad had skin cancer.
Yeah.
Both of them survived the cancer, but my other granddad sadly passed away from other issues. And then we had my mother-in-law at the time. So, and I had a partner for 12 years.
Yeah.
And his mum got cancer. She had bowel cancer. She passed away from it. And then we had my auntie in Australia. She had stomach cancer. She managed to get through that. And then my auntie and my uncle as well, they had one of my aunties had skin cancer, breast cancer, sorry, and my uncle had prostate. So, and then my other uncle, he had melanoma.
Yeah.
So I think about 10 people in my family have been affected
That
by
is
cancer.
an insane amount
Yeah.
of people.
I didn't
with
realise
cancer.
quite how many until I listed it.
I know, that's what I was like, the list is endless.
Yeah.
It's
I'll
a big
write
family
it down.
though.
Yeah.
It's a very big family. So
Yeah.
all on your mum's side or a mix of
A mix of both.
mix of both.
Just so on my mum's side, it was my mum and my granddad.
Yeah.
And then on my dad's side, because he's got quite a bigger family, it was some uncles and aunties on that side. So yeah, it's been quite a big part of my life, I would say, for sure.
So the first diagnosis of your mum was when you were 12?
I think it was about 12, 13.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a blur, to be honest.
Was that the first experience?
Yeah.
Well, they really threw you in at the deep end.
Yeah.
Because to have that, like, someone that's so close to you is crazy. So what was that like? Because that's a young age. I feel like that's similar to my sister's age.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of thinking, do you actually know what's going on? So how...
I don't think I really did. Like I said, I don't really think I know, like, felt the enormity of it. I think I was quite sheltered from it anyway. Like my mum and dad tried to keep life sort of very normal. But it was, I knew something was wrong, obviously, but I didn't ever kind of think my mum could die or, you know, something could happen to her.
Yeah.
My mum also got, I don't know if you ever remember this, but there was like a superbug that went round in the hospital called MRSA.
Yeah.
So my mum got that as well. And that probably was closer to kind of her, you know, coming to, you know, close to death, I guess. She was very poorly. And she was in a hospital about an hour or so away from us because she had a mastectomy as well. So she was very poorly for quite a long time. But if I look back on that period of my life, I can't really remember it too much.
Yeah.
My mum's always had a dark sense of humour, and that's where I get it from. So, like, you know, I just remember a lot of kind of jokes being made, and like it was always kind of looked at with a bit of humour. So for me, that wasn't something that I really felt so much. It was probably when my auntie got cancer when I was about 20. That's probably when that hit me more, I would say, because she didn't have any children, my auntie. So me and my cousins were like her kids.
She was like the fun rich aunt.
Yeah. I like to think that's me now. Not so much rich, but
just fun.
Yeah. But she kind of did a lot with us, and I think when I found that out, and she had breast cancer and it went to her brain, so that was really hard.
Yeah.
I was working full time, but she was at home after her brain surgery. So my auntie would go, and her sister would go and look after her in the day, and then I would take over at night. And it would be like lots of medication. Who had been in that day had to like make notes on who'd given her what, and you know, making sure that, you know, we didn't give her too much, and so I cared for her really in the evenings and spent a lot of time with her.
Big responsibility
Yeah.
at 20.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like whatever age you are, you always think, oh, I'm grown.
Yeah.
And then you maybe get 5 years later down the line and
Yeah.
think, I was a child. So
Yeah.
like at 20, what's that like having to care for a family member?
Yeah, I think I didn't, again, like when you're in that situation, you don't really think about it. But now I'm 34 now. So I think I was like 20, 21 at the time, something like that. But it was a big responsibility really now when I look
Yeah.
back, and I think that's so young. But I also wouldn't have it any other way, because I think in that time, as hard as it was, like those moments are the ones that like you remember the most
Yeah.
sometimes, and like they're the most precious moments, and you speak about a lot of things that maybe you wouldn't normally speak about, and you really like take in what people are saying, and like the time that you're with people, so you're a lot more present. It was hard. I was very burnt out at the time, I remember, and just feeling so sad
Yeah.
because my auntie was always somebody that was very much kind of positive, so she would never give cancer her energy. Dying was never an option, you know, that wasn't a possibility. So we kind of knew that she might die, but because she was always so positive, we were thought, "Oh, she'll be all right, it's not going to
Yeah.
happen." So I think, you know, trying to kind of keep going with that all the time. And I think that's the hardest thing living with cancer, is you live with a lot of hope, but you also live with a lot of uncertainty. And I think
Yeah.
that's really difficult because you just do not know what's around the corner.
No.
Yeah.
And it can take a turn
Yeah,
whenever.
exactly.
And I think that's like a really scary part, is that you could
Yeah.
one day, oh, everything's fine, everything's good. And then the next
Yeah.
week, left field.
Yeah.
And I think with the whole, you were saying like she's, you know, you live with hope,
Yeah.
but then sometimes the reality, when you go to those doctor's appointments,
Yeah.
like reality is like, oh, this is actually
Yeah.
what I'm going through.
Yeah.
So when we're thinking about her positivity,
Yeah.
you guys were dealing with two very different situations. So she's dealing with, you know, trying to push through it,
Yeah.
and the whole her kind of coming face to face with her mortality.
Yeah.
But you're dealing with what potentially is going to be a really big loss.
Yeah.
So how was that mentally coping with the outcome of this might be her passing away?
I actually was really scared to lose her because she'd opened up so many, she'd given us so many great opportunities. You know, we were very fortunate with her situation. You know, she was able to take us to some really lovely places, take us on some lovely holidays.
Yeah.
And she kind of really showed us the other side of life, to be honest. So I think for me, like, she's one of the reasons why I'm so driven. And I was kind of scared to not have her in my corner, because if I ever doubted myself, as same as my mum, you know,
Yeah.
always kind of pushing us to do better, and you know, they have that belief in you sometimes that you don't. And I think it was kind of, like you say, you have that hope that she might survive.
Yeah.
But really, kind of as time went on, so my auntie had, like I say, had a brain tumour, so she had a lot of seizures, and she had a stroke and things as well. So that happened again. And when that happened again, I just thought, like, this isn't good.
Yeah.
But she seemed to fight back every time she kind of got to something. But yeah, I think it's kind of, you almost come to the conclusion of what is going to happen. You do a lot of grieving before
Yeah.
that actually happens, which I would say is probably one of the hardest things you can do, is grieve someone while they're still here, to be honest.
Yeah. That's an odd feeling.
Yeah.
Because it's like you just want to live in the moment
Yeah.
and just enjoy everything.
Yeah.
But then like it creeps upon you, like the what if.
It never leaves you. Like
No.
you know, you can be out having a day out if, you know, they're in that capacity to do so, but in the back of your head, you know that they've got this illness, and like,
Yeah.
what if this happens? So I think there is always that uncertainty. My auntie, like I say, she just never gave it any energy, but
Yeah.
even to the point where she was like, take my card, we're going to Italy this year in the summer, book the house. And I was like, yeah, we'll book the house. So I pretended that I'd book the house for us all, because she kind of got onto the whole law of attraction side of things,
Yeah.
you know, manifesting before any of us. She used to watch a lot of American TV. So before it was even a thing here, it was very much a thing for her.
Yeah.
So that was just, she was never giving it any energy. And actually my auntie didn't have conventional cancer treatment. She turned it down. So she went down the route of holistic treatments. She took some weird potions, shark cartilage, I remember being in one of them.
Oh my goodness.
Like extreme healthy diet, measuring pH balances, things like that. So she very much went down the alternative route, which did actually shrink one tumour, and it went,
like
but
that.
the other one sadly went elsewhere. So So yeah, it was
Yeah.
quite a lot to deal with at the time.
I think you saying that, dealing with the holistic medication,
Yeah,
I don't know I would say like I'm a realist.
yeah,
So if my mum had said I'm gonna do holistic medication, I would have lost my mind.
yeah,
I'd have been like, you get to hospital right now.
yeah.
What were you feeling when she was like, I'm gonna fix my diet?
She never really kind of said that this was just what she's going to do, but my auntie was all very much like always like into her like holistic side of things.
Yeah.
So I just kind of respected her wishes, I think. And I think because her partner had died from cancer a few years before, chemo wiped his immune system out.
Yeah.
And I think she was worried that if she had chemo, sorry, that she would wipe her immune system out and no other treatment would then work for her.
Yeah.
So she was trying to do it in that perspective. So I could see where she was coming from.
Yeah. That
And
makes
I
sense.
knew that she was kind of towards the end thinking, you know, I remember she said to me, do you think I should have had the chemo? And I said, look, you were brave, you went with your choice and your decision. And I think that takes a huge amount of bravery.
Yeah.
And you did what you believed in. So
It does.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think seeing the chemo, like I've seen my stepmom had breast cancer. I was quite young, but seeing someone go through chemo is really unpleasant.
Yeah.
And if you don't experience it, you underestimate it because you just think, oh, they're having chemotherapy, they're fine.
Yeah.
But like it is the most aggressive
Yeah.
thing. Like the effects of it are crazy. Just visually,
Yeah.
like people look ill.
Yeah.
And then like the side effects, the nausea, the like skin
Yeah.
discoloration, awful.
I
Like,
somehow, without all of those people that went through cancer, I've never had to deal with anyone that went through chemo. I know.
oh my days. That's the thing.
I
Like,
know. Yeah.
what do you mean all those people? And
Yeah.
most people think that chemo and radiotherapy are the only options.
Yeah.
So the fact that you've got a list of 10
Yeah.
and none of them had chemo.
Yeah. My mum had radio. My uncle that passed away, I can't remember what he had, but he lives in Bournemouth, so I wasn't really there for his kind of journey, I guess. But my other uncle did have chemo, but they actually went to Germany for that. They had private treatment with other things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't kind of really exposed to that side of it so
Yeah.
much, but obviously I know people that have had it and seen people that have had it. So I can imagine like dealing with that is very difficult because there's such a physical change in someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's scary to see is like the physical changes
Yeah.
because you obviously know like the mental battle of like dealing with it and the unpleasantness, but like seeing the people you love ill
Yeah.
is
And
not
struggling,
nice.
like
Yeah.
in pain. Yeah. That must be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not nice at all.
Yeah.
So your mum had breast cancer.
Yeah.
Was this the first time she had it?
Yeah.
Was it cured then
Yes.
and then came back?
It didn't come back. No, so my mum actually didn't die of cancer in
Yeah.
the end. She had breast cancer, and she was actually in remission and it never came back.
Yeah.
So my mum just had so many illnesses. Like
Yeah.
my mum was a smoker. We had many arguments about her being a smoker. I always knew my mum wasn't going to live to a ripe old age. We used to joke about it because she just smoked like a chimney.
Yeah.
And she enjoyed it. She didn't want to give it up. She had no interest in giving it up, despite the health issues it brought her. My mum had a couple of heart attacks. She'd had mini strokes. She'd had heart failure. She'd had all sorts. So my mum went through a lot in her life, really,
Yeah.
which makes me sad because I just wish that she'd been able to enjoy life more because
Yeah.
she just wasn't really able to. So my mum passed away. I think it's 4 years this year. Is it 4 years, I think, 4 or 5 years. So yeah, she passed away. She had a heart attack,
Yeah.
but she had pneumonia, so she had fluid on her lungs, and her heart wasn't able to pump the fluid
Yeah.
off of her lungs. So when she was in hospital initially, she had a shadow on her lung. So I initially thought, you think the worst, you think, oh, she's got cancer.
Yeah.
Which would make sense with her smoking. But actually it was pneumonia that she then wasn't able to clear it like you or I could. So
Yeah.
that's what she passed away of in the end. So
So sad. How is it dealing with the grief of the loss of a parent? So the loss of a mum, I
yeah.
feel like is very heavy.
Yeah.
So what have you done to kind of deal with that?
I seen a quote actually after my mum died, weirdly, and it said that losing a parent is like being homesick and not being able to go home. I know, got me. And
Oh
I was just
God.
like, that is just so true.
Yeah.
It just literally sums it up in like words. So I think for me, like, I did a lot of grieving again before my mum died.
Yeah.
You know, and my mum had been ill for so long, on and off for so many years, that we'd nearly lost her so many times that you kind of naively think that she'll bounce back from everything, because
Yeah, 'cause
everything that
she's your
was
mum.
chucked at, yeah.
Like, mums
We
are
used to
supposed
call
to
her
do
the cat
that.
with 9 lives, because she would just come back from everything. Like, you think, oh, she'll be all right. You know, she's been
Sure.
through it all.
Yeah,
She'll be
literally.
fine. And when my mum went into hospital, she was really poorly. She was having a lot of like breathlessness, and she was going in for a lot of iron infusions, blood infusions for different things. And my sister actually had to wheel her into the hospital because she couldn't walk, but
Yeah.
had to leave her there because it was COVID, so she couldn't go in with her. So had to leave her in the waiting
Yeah.
room to have whatever she was having done. I think she went in to have the fluid taken off of her lungs, but she actually had a heart attack when she was in there, which we weren't actually told until the next day. I know. So because my mum had had a heart attack years before, it just made her heart so weak.
Yeah.
And my mum had heart failure as well. So I think when we kind of took her in, well, my sister took her in I think it was May time. And she was in there for about a month and a half or so. And she never came back out. So she was really poorly.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember just seeing her in bed, like she got so thin. Like, my mum was never like that thin. Like, she was tiny. And it just broke my heart.
Yeah.
Like, seeing her in that bed every day, and she looked really ill, like really poorly. She was on oxygen 24/7. Tried to see if we could bring her home, but because of the level of oxygen she was on, we weren't able to have her die at home with us. So it was COVID, but the nurses were so good. Like, we were kind of coming out the back end of it, but still the restrictions were in
Yeah.
place. So first of all, it was like, you know, there is a ceiling to our treatment. That's kind of how they initially worded it to us. So I'm like, well, what does that mean? That there's nothing else you can do?
Yeah.
And I was like, have you tried everything? And they were like, yeah, we'll try these things and that thing, and then if that doesn't work, then there's nothing more we can do for her. So I was like, right, okay. So I said, can we see her? And she said, well, we're only allowed one person at the moment. So I've got a twin sister.
Yeah, I remember
So
finding that out. That
yeah.
really spun my mind.
So it was like, who goes in, me or her? And we couldn't really decide because it wasn't fair. So my mum's sister, we said, let Auntie Kim go in,
Yeah.
because like my Auntie Kim's so positive, and like they always have such a laugh. So it's like she'll bring some, you know, positivity. So initially I was FaceTime my mum in hospital, but then the nurses said me and my sister could go in. When they tried the other bits they couldn't do, they let us go in with her. So that went on for a couple of weeks, I think. And then we used to go in every morning, you know, first thing. But my auntie had texted one morning and just said, oh, your mum wants to see you this morning. And I was like, well, yeah, we go in every morning. But like, it was like, your mum wants to see you. So I already knew what was coming.
Yeah.
My mum's life was in her hands, really. She was able to decide what she was going to do next steps, really. So I went in there, and this is probably a bit where I might get upset.
Okay.
So I went into the hospital, and my mum sat us down, and she just said, like, it's my time to go now. So, and I just said, like, are you sure? Like, because I just knew that she was suffering so much. And for me, I just thought it's the kindest option for her. You know, you can't let her, because she could be like that for months. You know,
Yeah.
you can't leave her in that
That's not
quality of
fair, is
life.
it?
No. And I knew she hated that. So my mum never, like, even if my mum's poorly, she'd kind of just get on with it, you know.
Yeah.
So she'd keep herself to herself. So the fact that she was in hospital and like she just hated it. So it was just a very unusual situation, because normally people just pass away, but on this occasion, like, she
It's a
was
decision,
in
isn't
control,
it?
I guess. So she was never scared of dying, my mum. Like, she was always so brave. And I think she knew she wasn't going to live forever. She
made
yeah,
sure.
she was never scared of dying. And like, but I was scared for her.
Yeah. I think it's a good way to live, to not be scared of dying, because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, I speak to someone else, and it's like one thing in life that is actually certain, it is going to happen.
Yeah.
But for your mum not to be scared is such an amazing quality, because so many of us are. Like, so many of us are like, this is like the big fear.
Yeah.
But it's like, no matter how scared you are, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So like, you need to live, laugh, love whilst you're here.
And she was so brave. Like, I just think, you know, she was very brave in that moment. Because it's not like you just decide that that's your time's up and like then you just go on about your day. Like we're actually now gonna have to take steps for this to happen.
Yeah.
So we had to basically turn her, not me obviously, but the doctors would turn her oxygen off over the next couple
Yeah.
of days. You've got to wean it down slowly, and then she would pass away. So we were with her for 3 days, I think, 2 days, um, while they did that. And so my mum had a syringe driver in before she died, which I was really familiar with because everyone that I've known in my family that's had cancer has had a syringe driver in,
Yeah.
which basically sedates you.
Oh,
Yes.
that's not heard of
Yeah, so
that.
it makes you comfortable basically, and a lot of
Yeah.
time you're asleep, or you're a bit in and out of it.
Yeah.
Not my mum. She was so awake.
Yeah.
My auntie was like, "Is she meant to be this awake?" I was like, "I don't think so."
I don't think it's working.
No. And on her last night, like we were all kind of with her, and she'd not eaten for days, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. She said, "Can you go and get me one of those milkshakes?" I was like, "Oh, now you want to eat? Now you want to eat?"
They bring food all
Yeah.
day.
So she was still very kind of with it, and I think that was the hardest thing. Like, because I've been with quite a few people when they've died, and they've always kind of been quite sedated, or know that they're going to slip away and
Yeah.
pass away, and you kind of are waiting for it to happen. But my mum was so with it for. And then they come in and they give her they gave her a jab to kind of put her to sleep really. So she then passed away. So we were all with her. But yeah, it was really hard. And I just think you just never think you'd be about your mum.
Yeah.
And even my mum, who just had so many scares, you just never. I think it's like a safety, isn't it? Your mum, like you just something goes wrong, give mum a call, or I was always quite independent, so I never really, growing up, I kind of did my own thing a lot of the time. I never really called my mum and dad for too much. It's because my sister took up too much of their time. So I was like, oh, I'll get on with it. So
Yeah, they're going to be busy.
Yeah. So I think for me, it's kind of just you lose a part of yourself when your mum dies, I think, and I think that's the toughest part. And you just, it is like you say, even now, like when I go back to where I'm from, I don't feel like I'm at home because I don't have her there.
Yeah,
And
there's nowhere to go to,
No.
so to speak.
Yeah, so I've always come up with sisters or at my auntie's, but my dad's moved away as well. But I think that's the toughest part, is that you can't just pick up the phone or give your mum a hug. So it is tough, but equally, I think it just life is precious, and I think you've really got to see that. And grief has been such a big part of my life. You do get a little bit numb to it, at times, but you almost think, "Why am I going through this again?" But equally, I think it is just another reminder that life is so short.
Yeah, and I feel like seeing you. So I feel like you are so hardworking. Like I really look up to you in that sense. Like
Thank you.
you are really hardworking, and I feel like I can see like the fruits of your labor in your life. I feel like you've got lovely friendships. You've got like a nice apartment. You like living with the girls.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you really, despite everything, you've built a really beautiful life.
Thank you.
And I remember when you like have you're friends with people, you never like see them at work because obviously you're just in social settings. So like when I had my little crash out of I'm quitting my job, it was you.
Had the crazy idea that you might want to get into recruitment.
Oh yeah, God, stress. What was I thinking? See, I was so like not with it. I said, you put a message in the group chat. And you were like, if anyone's looking for a job, I thought, yeah,
that's me.
Yeah, I am. And then went through the whole process of like the interview of the recruitment thing, and that day when we were there, we just thought, wow, Kelly's really got everything together.
Thank you.
So it was so nice to see, and I think the way that like you carry yourself, you would never know that this is like the crazy stuff you've been through.
Thank you.
Which is wild. So
and I think you do. I think you just kind of. I think obviously with the amount of people in my life that I have lost, I think at one point it was like either one every year, like one after the other, or it was one every other year, and you just think, oh my God, like when is this ever going to end? Like
it's too much now.
Yeah, and I think the hardest bits is like Christmas. The table gets smaller every year, and like I miss those big family Christmases that we used to have. My mum's birthday's on Boxing Day, as well. So
like 2 in 1.
Yeah, which is hard, but equally, my mum used to always drag us down the beach on Boxing Day. So that's a tradition we've carried on, which I actually weirdly love now. So I
But
love
she's
it
looking,
now.
thinking, why weren't
Yeah.
you this happy when I was here at the beach?
Yeah.
Huh?
But, oh God, we got to go raining, go down the beach. So yeah, I think you've just got to, grief is hard, and like grief has actually affected my life in a lot of ways. I lost my relationship because of grief when my ex-partner's mum died. I was very close to her. But he was so close to his mum. Like, he didn't really have his dad around.
Yeah.
He wasn't that close with his other family members. And he just went into self-destruct mode, really. And it was really sad to see. I won't go into the details of it because I don't know how happy he'd be for me to do that. But yeah, it was a very difficult time of our lives, and it went on, so his mum died 2 years before mine. So we had 2 years of his grief, I guess, that was hard, and then my mum died. And that almost kind of relived it for him again. Which was difficult to try and balance being there for him and looking after myself. But he was very much self-destruct. It was a very, very difficult time in my life. And ultimately, his self-destruction kind of took over in the end, and we ended up splitting up. So it's hard because you see how grief can affect people. And I think God really, like, with the grief that I've been through, I've never reacted to it in that way. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way to deal with it, but my only advice to people would be, if it's affecting your day-to-day life and you are struggling with it, you need to go and get help, because it is such a heavy weight to carry, grief. I've always been quite lucky, and I've always I did quite a lot of mindset training a little while back, and I think that really helped me to push through. I think maybe some of it I probably masked a little bit and just kind of got up and got on. But you have to live your life. Like, the people that you lose would never want you to lose your life because of them. Life is short. We get one shot of this life. So I think you really have to live your life for them as well, and not let that take over.
And I think that's what's really scary, is like you don't know how you're going to react, because you could, you can prepare for it, but like nothing actually prepares you for it in that sense. So it's kind of like, I think, like, am I going to be self-destruct? Or would I be the kind of person that would be more like you and just like not crack on, so to speak, but really power through it and do the work? And you don't know until you're in it. And I think that's the hardest part, because me personally, I'm a bit of a control freak. So being in a situation where I'm not in control really sends my mind west. So I think, like, could you tell me a bit more about how you dealt with grief, prepared for it?
Yeah, and I think, like I said, a lot of people that I've lost have been through cancer. So it has been a lot of people you do watch die in front of your eyes. So you do a lot of that grieving beforehand. And that's a really tough process, because you do lose that person in front of your eyes. They do become very unwell. They do look unwell towards the end. It's not an easy thing to deal with. But I think, especially if you've got kind of unsaid words or things you want to say, I think you need to tell people. I think girls are way better at that than boys.
Oh my God, yeah. I don't think there is even an unsaid word between me and my mum either. No. She's like, please don't tell me anymore.
Well, I apologise to my mum for being such a nightmare as a teenager and different things. I read about a letter that I'd wrote to her, and I was in tears, and I looked at her and she's not one tear shed, and I was like, why are you not crying? That's really emotional. And she was like, oh, my tear ducts are blocked. I was like, but I did get you, right?
Yeah, but behind them, is there like something there?
But yeah, she was moved by it. But I think, with grief, you have to feel the feelings. It's so hard, and I know it's hard. And like, I remember my grandma was the first person I lost, and it hit me like a train. Like, I just remember thinking, what is this feeling? Like, it was sickening. It was just a horrible feeling. And I think you have to feel it. You have to sit there with your feelings, and as hard as that can be, don't drink through it. Don't take drugs. No. Those types of things are just not going to help you. You can't escape. You can't escape it. With my ex-partner, he did turn to those things, and it still didn't take the grief away. It might have quietened his mind temporarily for a bit, but it didn't. It didn't get rid of it. And if I'm honest, I don't think he's still dealt with it to this day. So I think you really have to sit with your feelings. Use your friendships, use your networks. Don't isolate yourself from people. There are times when you're going to want to be on your own.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, because you want to just cry or
Yeah.
listen to your favourite music that your mum used to listen to or whatever the case may be. But, you know, make sure that you don't isolate yourself. Go out and do nice things with
Yeah.
your friends and your
And
family.
it's realizing when you're isolating yourself and when you just need a moment for yourself. Like days indoors versus like an evening in, just to like let it all out.
Yeah.
Is very different, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, even if you were caring for somebody that's got cancer, time to yourself is so important. Because I remember just feeling so burnt out. I was working a lot of hours and then I was going straight to my auntie's, but I wanted to do it all. I wanted to be there for her at every possible moment that I could be, because I think being with somebody, you know, while they're dying and before they die is such a privilege. You know, I really do think that that's one of life's greatest privileges, to be with someone till the end. But you have to take time for yourself. And I think, you know, with grief as well, talk about the people that you've lost. Like, you know, I know people sometimes, if, you know, they'll say, oh, you're close to your mum or whatever. And I'm thinking, oh, this has got to be awkward for you, not for me. But I'm like, oh, she's passed away, but don't worry, like, it's fine, you know. And I like talking about my mum. I like talking about my auntie. I like talking about the people that I've lost, because I like to keep their memory alive and tell people how great they are. So I think sometimes when people die, I think people very much shut off because it's too painful to talk about them.
Yeah.
But I think that makes it worse. I think the more you can talk about those people, the better. And grief does get better in time. It never disappears. You know, I'll get days now. My mum died like I say 4 or 5 years ago now. I think the other day I just randomly missed my mum.
Yeah.
You know, and I was really sad about it. And that came from nowhere. Yeah. And it did nothing.
4 or 5 years though, I think like that's still really soon for me.
Yeah.
Like if you said she died 30 years ago, I'd be like, okay, that's a long time ago. But anything up to 30, I'm thinking that's like literally last week.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is like that's 4 birthdays, 4 Christmases.
Yeah.
Like that's not a lot.
A lot, yeah. And it is just, I think, you know, the time does go so fast. And like I say to my sister, like, because when my mum died, I was with my partner, had a house, had a stepson, I was engaged, I had a very different life. I live a completely different life that my mum has never known. My mum has never obviously known the life I'm living now.
Yeah.
But I know she'd be so happy for me.
I feel like she would like low-key love it.
She would love it. She absolutely would. And, you know, when my mum died, you know, my mum didn't have really much at all, bless her. So she left her house to me and my sister.
Yeah.
So when I broke up with my partner, I went on about 5 holidays. And my auntie was like, your mum would love you to do that. I was like, well, okay, I'll do it then. So I think, you know, you've just really got to remember them as best you can. And I think that is one of the hardest bits, is that luckily, like, my mum and dad were in the era of tripods and video cameras. So I've got loads of footage of my mum and dad and to look back on. Yeah. But it's like hearing their voice. You know, slowly things like that start to disappear in your memory, and that's hard.
Yeah, because it's always like, it's always your mum saying, "Oh, it'll be okay."
Yeah,
that's like all you need to hear sometimes, isn't it? And not having that.
And I think that's quite hard. Is those little bits, and just it's kind of their memory slowly slipping away, I guess, a little bit. But you just have to keep it alive as much as possible, I guess.
Because people take they do all their pictures like on their phone, iPhone, but then don't do anything with them.
No.
I'm like, guys, you can't keep your pictures in the cloud. You have to print them. Like,
my mum's got albums and albums of photos. Like that was a thing, wasn't it, back in the day?
So many. And I feel like we need to, this is like a public announcement, please print your pictures, because if you, I don't really know how the cloud works, but if you lose the cloud or whatever, like,
they're gone.
They're gone.
Yeah.
Like, you're not getting them back.
No.
I have like I think I've got 2 or 3 scrapbooks now, just full of pictures.
Yeah, that's such a good idea.
Because I'm like, we're not losing the cloud.
No.
Like, I don't know where those pictures are.
Floating somewhere.
But like, I like the fact that it is that era of like your parents did photo albums, videos. Remember like Christmas, like the whole day of Christmas is literally
my dad
vlogged.
Had just like this camera set up, tripod, straight away. Christmas Day,
all
on
angles.
The chairs that, you know, me and my sister open our presents. Like, you know, my mum's like got her hair up here, dressing gown on coffee. Like, oh, I've been up since 5.
Not again. Do we have to get this on record?
Great, another year. But it's those things you look back on and actually you're so grateful for, because we don't, like you say, you don't have them so easily to hand now.
And it would be so annoying when like whoever's filming would come and put like, you know, to hold it like this. Come and put the camera in your face. You'd be like, get out of my face.
I forgot about that. I used to film music videos like I was on MTV or something.
But you look back and they're so fun. Like,
Yeah.
I think looking at childhood memories is so weird when you see yourself because
Yeah.
you think, who even is that?
Who is that?
Like,
Yeah.
that's not me. That's just some
Yeah.
kid.
But it's so nice to have. And I think that is such a big part of
Yeah.
like, you know, you have to keep their memory alive. Don't be afraid to talk about them. You know, people a lot of, and I think this is hard as well when you lose people don't know how to act around you. They don't know what to say to you.
Yeah.
And that makes it awkward because I'm fine to talk about my mum. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm absolutely fine to talk about people I've lost. And actually, like, I like talking about it. So,
Yeah.
and I know not everyone's the same as me. I do understand that. But equally, so many people are so awkward. Like, okay, let's go on. Let's go to a different topic.
Sorry.
Yeah. But I actually, you know, it's fine to talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's nice to. So I think that is a big part, is to keep their memory alive a lot of the time.
Yeah, because you don't want to like forget those things, and
No.
we also don't want to just associate with the end part.
No,
Like, you want to
Exactly.
keep the true essence of like what your relationship was.
Exactly.
Like all
Yeah.
the stuff you did as a teenager that you shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
That when you get older, you can then tell your mum,
Yeah.
and she's looking at you like, this is not the daughter I
Yeah.
raised.
Well, my twin sister had a baby at 16, so I was an absolute angel compared to her.
They loved
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. I was never in the wrong. I was always a good one. So
So, bringing it back to now, you if you don't mind speak about this. So, your job at the recruitment place,
Yep.
so made redundant.
yeah, I was made redundant.
Yeah. And then now, which I am obsessed, like I love people's bounce backs. I love it. You're now home renovation.
Yes. So I've done a bit of, so I'm back in recruitment as well, but I bought a property to flip in Blackpool.
Yeah.
With somebody's helping me. I bought it. He's renovating it, so
Yeah.
it's going a bit slower than I wanted to at the minute, but we'll get there. But yeah, that's kind of a bit of a side project.
Yeah.
I did a property course a few years ago, and I did a little bit of investment before, so I had some money to invest. So I invested it with people I met on that course,
Yeah.
and then I just decided to take the leap last year. So that's ongoing at the moment, and decided to also jump into tech recruitment, which is
Nice.
a whole other world.
Anyone needs a tech job, you know
Yeah.
where to go.
Yeah.
What would your mum say to everything you're doing now?
I think she'd be really proud.
Yeah.
I know, like, you know, she knew kind of the situation with me and my ex-partner, and I know she was worried about me before she died. Just she wanted both of us to be happy, really. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think she'd love what I've done. You know, I've always wanted to move away. I didn't kind of ever want to be in the town I was in. It's very small,
Mm.
and just an opportunity for me there. So as hard as the breakup was for me, it kind of led me to the life I probably always wanted to live.
Yeah.
And I know that she'd absolutely love that. I don't know how many trips she would have taken to Manchester.
I feel like she'd have loved Manchester.
Yeah, as long as she could have had a couple of cigarettes on the way up, she would have been fine.
She'd have been at Duke's.
Yeah. God, I can't imagine Mama Jukes. She'd be like coffee and a cigarette in the corner or something. But yeah, she would be hugely proud. And I
Yeah.
think, you know, that's, again, something you have to go and live your life, not just for you, but, you know, do it for the people that can't do it.
Yeah.
One line that I will say, that when my auntie was dying, she was in a hospital bed at her house,
Mm.
and she had like a big glass conservatory. And I remember her saying to me, like, I would do anything to get out of this bed. And she was like, never take for granted being able to get up and get out of bed and
Mm.
just go outside and listen to the trees, you know, in the wind, like look at the sunshine. And I think sometimes when I'm having a bit of a bad day, or, you know, I think, God, like, you know, what's going wrong? Or you've just really got to pull it back to the basics and think, like, those little things, there's someone out there that's taking it for granted. So you've really got to kind of look at what you've got in life, I think.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.